All right.
Great. Did you point at us? Okay. Now, hey, Meadows family, it is good to be with you, even in this virtual sense. This is our COVID-19 version of a report that we were going to give to you tomorrow. So it's great. It's really great to have a chance to be, at least with Mark, and kind of virtually with you guys.
So we want to thank you for the many years of support that you've given us and the way you've supported our whole family. So when we go back to the field this time, we go back as empty nesters, which is a first for us. Just a little update on our family. Aaron and Ellie and our first grandchild are living here in Chicago, and they are involved in their church and doing very well. Jacob and Tess live in Toronto, and they are loving life there, and they are involved too in their church. And Jacob's going to be starting a PhD, so he's going to be a student for a long time. And then our youngest son Benjamin has just started, well, I guess he's finishing his first year at York University in Toronto, and we're just really thankful for the way you've supported our family, prayed for our kids. And the little picture there is Levi, and he is just a joy.
He is. And we love being grandparents, and it's really an amazing thing how God allowed us to be home the year that Levi was born. In fact, we got to the hospital here in Chicago 10 minutes before he was born. That was amazing. So just a little bit about what we've been doing in Japan. We've got the international church plant that we started a couple of years ago, and it was a great experience in doing something that is becoming very successful, especially in the Tokyo area, where you've got a bilingual service, and you have some strong Christians and some kind of discovering Jesus people that are coming to those. And so we were able to start one of those, and that's been really great to develop, especially the Japanese leadership. You can kind of see that in this picture here. A couple of people that were involved with that. So that's continuing on even as we're back here on home service, and we're really excited about that. Another thing that I think I've talked to you before about, but it was kind of the longest ministry that I was involved with, and I call it a ministry because it really was a time of connecting with community in a way that a sensei, a teacher, couldn't have done. But it's something that I could do as a server of coffee. And along the way, got to practice Japanese and also develop a better palate for coffee. That was fun too.
So for 11 years, I was involved in a Bible study for young moms called Happy Moms. And during this time, about 80 women came through the doors, would stay a couple years in the Bible study and craft class, and I was able to introduce them to Jesus Christ. Many of these women had never seen a Bible before in their life, and their connection with the preschool where we met was that their children would often come home with Bible stories and coloring pages, and they had no idea what these stories were and what their children were learning. And so when they came to Happy Moms, we could really show them who Jesus is, show them who the Creator God is. And although very few have accepted the Lord as their Savior, I can count one or two, we know that God has plans for these women, and so we continue to pray for them. Again, another young missionary has taken over this ministry, so it's going to keep going. In Sen Japan, for many years we didn't have any new missionaries, and we went through a time where we lost a number of families and there was a lot of discouragement. But in the last 3.5 years, we've had 19 new missionaries come to Japan with our mission alone. And so our role as older on the field missionaries became one of team leaders for a number of these young families. We had 2 young families on our team and 4 young adults in their early 30s, and it was wonderful to see them come to the field, get set up, help launch them, help them with language study, be an encouragement and a coach. And so we're really excited for what God is doing in Japan. Send International is not the only mission that is having a huge influx of missionaries, so keep praying for Japan. because we really believe God is going to be doing something amazing, because there's so many missionaries coming to Japan right now.
At about a 50% increase in our field. So that's kind of what 19 new missionaries meant. And it just, God is doing something in a very hard country, and we're really amazed by that. And so as a lot of these new missionaries came, something that's always been on our heart is to see new people thrive. And as we became senior missionaries with the white hair and graying hair that maybe brings more respect in Japan as it comes, we were really able to take take a leadership role for sure, and also a mentoring role. And as we did that, we could really sense, and I think people around us sensed, that this was a gifting that God was asking us to use for the remainder of our missionary career. And so we did that in Japan, what we call member care, really seeing new missionaries grounded and the foundations laid so that they are effective for the long term. And so that's something that we did for our own missionaries. And also we had a retreat. You can see here, this is something that in Japanese history is a traditional kind of an art form, but it was a way that you could take an old broken fairly valuable vase and do something different with it, where you took the pieces that were broken, and sometimes you insert even a different piece from something else in there, and glue it together with a gold lacquer. And we did that on our retreat. We took some pots and broke them, and had the missionaries and ministry workers do this as kind of a symbol of what we see happening when broken people, because we're broken, as we come to the field. But what God does is make something new and more beautiful out of something that was broken. And so as member care people, this is what we see happening, and this is what we ask God to use us to facilitate for members in Japan and in Asia too.
So about 3 years ago, we were asked by our Asia regional director if we would take over the role of member care, which is a shepherding and encouraging missionaries throughout all of Asia. And initially we said no. We were involved in a church plant and felt that's where God would have us. And they asked us to pray about it, and about a year later they came back, asked us again. And at that point we really felt God leading us to take on a role in member care. So we will be the new directors of member care for all of Asia, serving missionaries in Hong Kong, Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, Taiwan, and Japan. There's 6 countries. There's approximately 150 missionaries in those 6 countries. So we ask your prayer as we move into this new role and develop policies and procedures to help our missionaries thrive for the proclamation of the gospel.
So policies and procedures, definitely there's an administrative part to that, but probably more than that, and something that's on our hearts is really to kind of do pastoral care. And Thailand is a good place to do that from. And so we were asked, we were encouraged to move to Thailand to do that. And that's another story about how God moved us from Japan to Thailand at 54 years old, almost 55. A new adventure and a new challenge, learning another language, at least enough to survive. But also Chiang Mai, Thailand, where we'll be, is kind of a center, a hub for missionaries in Asia to come and receive care. And so I'll be doing some of that at a counseling center for missionaries in Thailand. And then also going out to the countries that Elaine talked about too. And then there's local ministry too, that we are excited about being involved with.
So the missionaries in Thailand are spread out throughout about 4 different cities. A number of them are doing university, English teaching, connecting, church planting. But up north there's a ministry working with young girls who have been rescued before being sold into the sex trade. Send International has a home for these girls to live in after they finish grade 8, and they can complete their high school there, and they can learn life skills that they can contribute and get jobs as they grow. And this ministry is growing in the villages up there, and it's reaching the families and whole villages for Jesus Christ. So that's something that I'm going to be able to be involved with, going and just hanging out with these girls, loving them, and just learning about their life as we share the love of Jesus with them.
So in all of this, our goal is to really take barriers away from the people that God has called to bring Jesus to the various countries, to the people in the various countries around Asia. And we do want to foster the powerful spread of the gospel of Jesus Christ by helping these global workers to thrive. And so we appreciate your prayers as we go into this brand new thing. It's a new position for Send. And even as we prepare, life is a little bit crazy. I'm working on finishing my Master's of Arts in Clinical Counseling as part of this, what we're doing. It's going to really help with that. And then just getting the visa ready and moving. And then, of course, now we have this coronavirus on top of everything, kind of unsettling when exactly we can get there, what it's going to look like, and which countries we should go to beforehand. But in the middle of this, God just keeps bringing us back to this verse. Isaiah 30:50, the first part of 15. For thus said the Lord God, the Holy One of Israel, in returning and rest you shall be saved. In quietness and in trust shall be your strength. We have the tendency to run around and try to get things done and maybe get a little bit frantic. And God just keeps bringing us back to this, that quietness and trust is the key to us living here until we get to Thailand, and then to starting the new thing that He has for us. So if you could pray with us for that, we'd appreciate that. And pray for the things that are kind of God-sized that need to happen. We need a visa. We need to raise about $50,000 to start up a household there and get a vehicle. And so that's God-sized stuff, but we trust Him for that. So we're glad to be with you.
Yeah. So again, thank you, and I'm sorry we missed you in person. Have a great weekend.